You're a delusional black woman.
You're delusional.
No, I'm not.
You're delusional. You're a black man that voted for Joe Biden.
Joe Biden may have won the 2020 presidential election, but the divisions in America still run deep.
Trump is out now! Trump is out now!
We traveled to Pennsylvania, an overwhelmingly white state that Trump won in 2016, and found that support for him in some areas has only continued to grow since then.
Trump 2020!
He made America great again, and we're still great.
And it's this intense political polarization that is prompting some organizers to prepare for the worst.
I fear more so not being able to protect my family if they need to be protected.
So what caused this pivotal state to flip?
This is a continuation of a struggle that must involve all people. But at the core of this is black liberation.
These grassroots organizers have been working to change the political tide since the start of Trump's presidency. And for them, a Biden victory is just the beginning. Travel in just about any direction outside of Pennsylvania's historically blue areas of Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, and what you get is a sea of red conservative voters. We headed to Berks County, a place Trump won in this election and in 2016, just a few days before November 3rd.
Baby shark, doo, 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 doo.
Here we met Shakair McCain, an activist and mom who helped build local power over the summer through protests after the killing of George Floyd.
I was profiled for even planning this event. Just another angry black woman calling for riots and looting is what they think of me.
At least 100 BLM protests happened in counties Trump won 4 years ago. They were met with plenty of resistance.
You don't even know what Black Lives Matter is about.
Shakair believes support for President Trump is inextricably linked to a trend of white people with guns showing up at protests this summer, claiming they're there to protect residents.
I feel like not enough people are really worried about that. Me, I'm very worried about that. I have been going to the gun range to practice on my shooting so I can protect my family if need be.
Less than 24 hours before she goes to vote, Shakair is headed to the shooting range with her fiancé, Jordan.
We just need half an hour today. Yes, I have fear in my heart for if a police officer sees me, a black woman, or sees him, a black man with a gun, but I fear more so not being able to protect my family if they need to be protected.
There's another fight, too, being waged by people on the ground who are in an ongoing battle for meaningful change. Eliza Booth and Zach Gregg are co-organizers of Lancaster Stands Up, a progressive grassroots coalition that wants to build real power across the state.
We want to hold everybody in power accountable. If you're not working for working people, if you're not working to make our lives better, then we're going to tell you about it.
In the 4 years since the group was founded, it's moved the marker on what people thought was possible in an area that's voted deeply red.
People want to change the way that we do things fundamentally in this country. And simply by us being here, that's the first step. And getting more and more and more people involved builds what we have control over. I mean, in 4 years, we managed to take over, a bunch of seats around the county where there was never a Democrat could even think of running.
Yeah. But Eliza and Zach make it clear, Biden winning is not the end goal.
Our job then becomes automatically to hold him accountable, to push him to adopt policies that are better for working families, for the people of this country, and not for, his corporate donors, not for corporations. That's going to be our main focus.
It's Election Day, a day Shakair has been thinking about for 4 years.
Honestly, I'm nervous. I'm nervous about voting. This is the biggest election of my life.
While Shakair went in to vote, we spoke with a young woman who asked her cousin to escort her to the polling place today.
I just didn't want to come here by myself again because it's my first time voting. I wasn't sure what to expect, wasn't sure how long the lines were going to be, what kind of people were going to be in the lines, what's going to be said. I don't know. I was just kind of nervous, so I felt more comfortable bringing him with me just so I had somebody.
As for Shakair, she wore her gun on a holster to go vote. Pennsylvania is generally an open carry state, and with some exceptions, residents are allowed to bring a gun to their polling places.
We see how the divide is getting bigger and bigger with Trump in office. He fuels Trump supporters, Trump fuels their hate. So this is so important to us because people of color and Black people, we don't want to be looking over our shoulders all the time because our president is encouraging people to be violent.
About an hour away in Lehigh County, Daryl Steigerwalt is standing at an intersection encouraging people to vote. Dressed in a hazmat suit to remind people of the deadly COVID-19 pandemic, he's hoping voters will throw their support behind Joe Biden.
This is going to take the country in either a healing direction or potentially we could even wind up with a second civil war.
Daryl says he's mostly been met by support today with people honking as they drive past. While we were there, he had a brief run-in with another resident. We caught up with the driver afterward.
If you don't like it, you leave. You know, if it's that bad, Trump must go. If you don't like it, leave. They're tearing down statues, tearing down, taking over blocks of a police station. That's anarchy. That's ridiculous. It's not getting your way and going to violence.
As Election Day came to an end, the country was left waiting with no clear result in sight.
Just past 10:15 p.m. here on the East Coast, and polling locations continue to close across the U.S.
Stressed is an understatement. I have butterflies. I remember I had this feeling 4 years ago. Because you just never know. I am hoping for the best. I see a better future for Pennsylvania. I see people waking up in Pennsylvania and understanding that a bigot fueling their racism is not the way to go. If you want to love thy neighbor, you have to do it the right way all the time, not just sometimes, not just when it's convenient for you. Because I'm Black all the time. I can't change that.
2 days after the election, the country watched and waited as Pennsylvania continued to count ballots. For months, there were warnings that if the election dragged on, cities like Philly could be the site of mass civil unrest. So organizers came prepared to dance.
The moment the entire country has been waiting for.
Joe Biden will be the 46th president of these United States.
Pennsylvania voters played a crucial role in Joe Biden's win. For many, it was never about him winning. It was a referendum on racism and division in America.
More than anything, what it says is that half of America is racist. And we need to address it and deal with our history, the effects of it, the oppression, the inequality.
A record number of people came out to vote in the 2020 election, and it will go down in history as one of America's most divisive.
You're a delusional black woman.
You're delusional.
No, I'm not.
You're delusional. You're a Black man that voted for Joe Biden.
And what's left to see is whether ardent Trump supporters will accept defeat. But progressive activists are determined to overcome these divisions by building up the ranks of people who want to participate in the political process.
Where are we, and do you need me for anything at all? Are we good?
No, we just need...
Even though Lancaster County did not flip blue this election, another one of their chapters in the Lehigh Valley did. And that means they're making progress.
4 years ago, people were just kind of depressed and like, I don't know what to do, and we felt alone. Now I have people texting me and texting my colleagues and saying like, hey, what can I do? That's exciting to me because people know, okay, I can get plugged in with this group, with these people and feel powerful.
Biden owes much to these grassroots organizations, in particular to the communities of color who built up his base through their efforts on the ground. Now the question will be if he can live up to his promises. For organizers like Shakair, the fate of the country relies on addressing central issues like police budgets and the brutality inflicted on Black and brown lives.
And that's why I'm out here. It's not that I have a point to prove. Black lives matter! Black lives matter! Always. People like that try to intimidate me, never. I could never be intimidated by someone like that.
What is clear, especially for people on the margins, is that work needs to happen no matter what.
Not stopping our protest, not stopping what we're doing, just doing it 10 times harder because we need change. We want change, and we're going to get change.